What's good, everybody? Welcome to the weekly Q&A here at Vegas Nation, and happy schedule day. Maybe I've seen the schedule, maybe I haven't seen the schedule. Maybe I've agreed to hold off on really talking about it until 5 o'clock. Maybe I haven't, but this much I can tell you guys. Man, that second half of the schedule is, from what I'm hearing anyway, is looking pretty difficult. A couple, I think, at least four games that I've been told will be against teams that made the playoffs last year. A bunch of trips to the East Coast, or longer trips, not all of them to the East Coast. But if the Raiders, and I'm writing about this, so check it out later today. If the Raiders are to, play their way into a playoff position as they did the last couple of years, 6-3 last year, 6-4 the year before, in order for them to close the deal, they're going to have to really navigate a pretty difficult schedule during the second half of the season. So they better bring it. No question about it. Let's get right to this. Got some questions here on Twitter and YouTube. We'll get to as many as we can. This is from Prince Nazo F Tribe, and he wants to know, with the reports of John Simpson wanting to be the starting right guard, how does that shake up the possible starting rotation with Richie Incognito and Denzel Good? Well, first of all, John Simpson should want to be the starter. You're paid to compete and put your best foot forward. So glad to hear that that's on his radar, that he's fully coming into training camp expecting to be a starting contending player. Every player should have that goal in mind. Does that mean that that's how it's going to play out? We'll see. But I mean, if John Simpson beats out either Richie Incognito or Denzel Good, well, that's all the better for the Raiders. If he decidedly, I'm not saying necessarily win it by default, but if it's a nice competition and John Simpson is one of the best two guards on this Raiders team, then that's great. I don't think it'll affect too much as far as on the tackle side of things. I think that Alex Leatherwood, the rookie from Alabama, is going to get every opportunity to show that he belongs at right tackle, starting right tackle from the start of the season. So, there is always thought, hey, maybe Denzel Good kicks back out to tackle. He played some tackle last year. But I think ideally for the Raiders, they want Alex Leatherwood to be the guy at right tackle. Obviously, Colton Miller is the left tackle. So we'll see. If the Raiders have three really good guards and one of them's going to have to sit, whether that's Incognito or Denzel Good or John Simpson, that's not bad. What they're looking to do is create depth. So of those three players, if everybody comes correct, they should be in pretty decent shape at guard. Matt Berger wants to know, how do you see the offensive line starting from left tackle to right tackle? I did not do that purposely, going from tackle or from the guard question to the overall offensive line. But I'm going to say it's going to be from right to left. Let's go, okay, left tackle to right tackle. Let's go Colton Miller at left tackle. Let's go Richie Incognito at left guard. Let's go Andre James at center. Let's go Denzel Good at right guard. Let's go Alex Leatherwood at right tackle. There you go. That's how I see the offensive line. And I think ideally that's kind of what the Raiders would like to see as well. But we'll see. Next question. John Richardson wants to know, yes, where do we drop off our firstborn in exchange for tickets? John, you did not make me just read that, did you? That's a dedicated fan. And, just keep an eye out. Obviously, the Raiders have sold out at Allegiant Stadium. They sold all their season tickets, so that's done. But for fans that for whatever reason maybe they can't make a game and they want to put their tickets out there on the exchange market, just keep an eye. Ticketmaster, is usually the official one. There's other ones out there, but that's what I would do. And see. There's obviously going to be a lot of games that are going to be extremely popular. This is the first season, hopefully knocking on wood, that fans are allowed in games. So there's going to be demand. There's no question about it. But hopefully Once things kind of settle down a little bit, the prices will reflect that. But I think early on it's going to be pretty popular tickets. So just brace for that. I'm not advocating dropping off your firstborn, but you might want to fill up the penny and change jar, and just keep working at it over these next few months before the season starts. So you'll be in a better position to buy some tickets. Good luck with that, John. We're going to go to ETAP. At King Tap 08 wants to know Henry Ruggs' usage this season has got to go up, right? There should be no issue with him getting Aguilar targets. You wouldn't think so, and I think that Henry Ruggs is motivated, to come back in his second year stronger than he was in his first year. I have to always say this: if Henry Ruggs had an impact last year, there's no question about it. If you look at how defenses defended the Raiders when Henry Ruggs was on the field, just his mere presence as a speed guy changed the way defenses defended the Raiders. And that opened things up for guys like Darren Waller and Josh Jacobs and Hunter Renfrow and Nelson Aguilar. The trick now is to not just be a presence out there and help that way, but be somebody that with the ball in your hands or in Henry Ruggs' hands, he's going to be, doing damage. And I think that that's partly on him, Henry Ruggs, developing some of his receiver skills, whether it's the, route running, being more polished as a route runner, being more decisive in and out of his cuts when he gets the ball, to use that speed to his advantage, to where it's really having an effect on opposing defenses. Coming down with the ball, the Raiders have talked a lot about that in terms of getting both feet down, coming down with the ball when you go up and fight for it. So all of those things and I think the Raiders have a strong conviction and confidence that he's going to do just that. He just needs to do it, and if he does, then I think that it's also on John Gruden and the offense to try to figure out more ways to utilize Henry Ruggs. To me, he's a guy that you try to get the ball to at least 10 times a game, whether it's in the pass game, the screen game, the run game, sweep game. You put the ball in his hands because he's a guy that you want to be a weapon. And I would imagine that that's what John Gruden and his staff are trying to do, is figure out ways to better utilize Henry Ruggs and more ways of utilizing him. All right, John Russo at Jason_Russo. First of all, ciao, paisan. Love to see that. Could you see the Raiders involved in a potential Julio Jones trade after June 1st? Yes, I could. Money's going to be a factor. He does come with a pretty heavy price tag. So that's going to be something that you have to look at. What's the compensation? I would think that if it's a second or third round pick, you might want to give that a look-see. Julio Jones, I know that I think he played 8 games last year, and so there's concern where he is physically. But if you go back every year beyond that, this is a dude that gets out on the field 14 to 16 games every single year. You look at the catches, 70 to well over 90 catches a year. Over 1,000 yards, close to 1,300 to 1,600. I mean, you could go on and on. This guy plays, and he plays a lot aside from last year. So he'd be somebody that if I'm the Raiders, I'm definitely kicking the tires on. We'll go to No Name McGillicuddy at Crown and Cigar. Nice name, I like that. Do you think Jalen Richard could be traded or cut before week 1? Seems like Drake will be that change of pace running back and pass catcher. Number one, don't underestimate Kenyon Drake. I don't think he's just a change of pace guy. I think he's legit running back 1B. He's going to see the field a lot. And he's going to see the field in conjunction with Josh Jacobs and sometimes in lieu of Josh Jacobs. So whereas Jalen's more of that, what you just described, that change of pace guy. But I think his price tag is $3.5 or so $million. Maybe if something else came along, or maybe you needed a little bit of money to make something happen, he's a guy that you would kind of look at. Is the usage line up with the pay? And so, for those reasons, I definitely wouldn't be shocked if he got cut or traded. So we'll see about that. We're going to go out to Audie Lennon at Anthony_layup. Doesn't the entire division play essentially the same teams? And if so, how come we have the 8th toughest schedule, but the Chargers and Broncos come in at 17th and 27th? It's an excellent question, and there actually is a valid answer for that. Remember last year the Raiders finished in second place? Well, yes, they play most of the teams that the Chargers and Broncos also play. Because you get lined up with a division in the NFC, you get lined up in a division against the AFC, so you play all of those teams, right, including your own AFC West schedule. However, because the Raiders finished in second place, they also have to play a bunch of teams in the NFC and AFC, or at least two other teams that finished in second place in their divisions as well. And I want to say that is it the Cleveland Browns this year, or maybe it's the Miami? Yeah, I think it's the Miami Dolphins, and who is it? The Dallas Cowboys, I believe. Anyway, so they're playing a second place schedule. I have to look at the exact schedule, how it all breaks down, but they're playing a second place schedule. Meanwhile, the Chargers, the teams that they play outside of who they mutually play, share with the Raiders. Now they're playing where'd they finish? Third place schedule. The Broncos, I believe, finished in fourth place. So they're playing a fourth place schedule. They're playing teams that finish in fourth place. The Chargers are playing teams that finish in third place. The Raiders are playing teams that finish in second place. The Chiefs are playing teams that finish in first place. The NFL does that to try to create some so that the same teams aren't dominating. Parity, they call it. So they're giving teams a better chance to compete the following year against teams that were kind of in their same boat. And presumably that might sometimes help teams, have a better record. So that's the answer to that question. We're going to go to @Lake Show for Life 9. You feeling a little bit better about the Lakers right now? Wouldn't it be hilarious if the Lakers are just trolling everybody and come out in the playoffs and everybody's healthy and they just steamroll everybody? Yeah, I'm not ruling that out either. Do you think the Raiders will make another move this offseason? If it is, well, I mean, there's a couple of moves that they could make that are very, very, very major. And I think we all know what we're talking about. What happens with Aaron Rodgers? What happens with Julio Jones? I could see them involved in both of those situations. So other than that, though, yeah, I could see some minor moves being made. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, are you comfortable with your slot wide receiver? Do you feel like there's more depth that you can create along the defensive line? I look at linebacker, because outside those three starters, it's pretty much untapped beyond that. Tanner Muse didn't even play last year. Divine Diablo is a rookie. So those are the two main guys basically as the reserves, as linebackers. Wondering if the Raiders might add some experience behind the three starters. What game excites you the most? Excites me the most. Really want to see what that Raiders Cleveland game against the Browns. Obviously, we know that they're starting Monday Night Football season opener against the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's a great litmus test. And then the Chiefs. Anytime they play the Chiefs, I think those are the exciting games. We're going to wrap up here in just a second. When do rookies start practice in silver and black? The rookies are they're not practicing, but they're part of the offseason program right now. They got to town, all of them, including the undrafted guys this week. So those guys are definitely here, part of the program, but we're not going to really see them in practice until, if there is on-field OTAs, or if there is a mini camp. That's when they'll officially kind of start practicing with all the other players. And if not then training camp. Last question. How is the average Raider fan supposed to afford a ticket to see a game in Allegiant Stadium? $1,000 for a nosebleed. That's not what the price is. There's prices on the season ticket menu that are very reasonable, more than reasonable. Now I know that there's also a PSL that is attached to it. That's the season seat license that you pay. It's a one-time fee that you pay to have that seat for the next 30 years. Of course, you got to pay for the season seat each year, but there's no, in the nosebleeds, there's no $1,000 individual game tickets. And what I would suggest is monitoring it on a week-to-week basis. There's always tickets on that secondary market for whatever reason. Sometimes fans just, something came up, they can't make it to the game. So just keep an eye on that. And I'm really confident that you'll be able to get in at a price that, there'll be prices that fit everybody's budget. So good luck with all of that. I want to say thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Keep an eye out on at vegasnation.com. We will have all the information on the schedule that's going to be released here in about 4.5 hours. We'll see you guys then.